counting us in three, two, one.
Welcome to episode 122 of the
Stop, Scott.
Narcissistic
Sorry,
Music
buddy.
Disorder. Yeah.
Sorry, you're not the computer software is not picking you up. And I think
Hello.
it no, I think it's something simple here. Let me do
Okay.
that. And then for the people watching the video, you just have to deal with another count in. And if you don't like it, go listen to some podcast where people Google everything they say and don't have an original thought. I've become that today. I'm that. Okay, here we go. Counting again in three, two, one.
Welcome to episode 122 of the Narcissistic Music Disorder.
Good morning, my brother. Episode 122. God dang. So, do you consider us in season four,
I
three
think
or
it was
four?
before. Yeah.
So, because when I'm posting our podcasts up to our host site, I, I've been doing seasons by year almost,
Yeah.
like every new year. So, yeah, I have us in like season four, episode 122. I think that's what it is. I want
Yep.
to know when the DVD box that comes out.
Yeah.
Um, so what's new and exciting? Anything good and exciting in your world of music? What are you listening to?
I'm listening to a lot of Zach Bryan. He's
Hmm.
like my new, I've been listening to him. I got his album in 2020. I got one of his albums called Elizabeth, and I've been listening to him ever since. He's some of his stuff, a lot of it, the only criticism I would have is a lot of it sounds similar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Um,
you know what? I mean, that's funny too, and I get
but
that.
he writes
I
cool
told
songs, but a lot of them run together, it seems like.
I'm guilty myself, guilty as charged, and I think
And
that
he's
happens too.
he's sort of like a Ryan Adams, like one of his records has 34 tracks on it,
Yeah, I that's tough, man. Again, we've
you
talked
know.
about this, but that's tough because
He
not
releases
everything is a song,
everything. Yeah, he
right?
releases everything kind of guy. But there's cool. He's got something because like Jason Isbell's been on stage with him. Springsteen's done a song with him. John Moreland does a song with him. John
Yeah,
Mayer's done a song with him.
he's respected as a writer.
So a lot of
Well,
these guys are doing. The only thing I haven't seen yet is like Post Malone doing a song with him.
oh, speaking of which, so I saw Post Malone a clip, maybe a song of him playing on the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah,
It wasn't bad, dude. He
dude, I
seems to
got
be
his new
reverent.
record called F1 Trillion.
Is it the country one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides people I don't like Blake Shelton and stuff that he collaborates with, some of the songs, the song with Dolly's fantastic.
I'm not sure that I don't like him. He seems like a pretty solid. I mean, he has reverence for the genre. I can tell. He
Yeah,
knows the genre. He's a good at it. Um, I don't know everything I've ever seen about the guy. Seems like a pretty stand up dude.
pretty friendly. Yeah,
Yeah, right. Not an asshole. It's not my kind of music. Even his country is not my kind of music. But I certainly dug the fact that he was doing country music and seemed to be really he respected the genre, and I like that
yeah.
about him. Yeah, that's cool. Um, oh yeah, and he collaborates with Dolly. Man, she's
So
been on
I
scene.
wanted to ask you something. I wanted you to put on your NMD
Okay,
psychiatric hat
okay, I'm
for
ready.
me.
Okay.
And I told my wife about this too. And I don't often remember my dreams.
Oh no, you had a
So
dream, an NMD
even
dream.
after I thought maybe when I quit drinking that I would remember my dreams more, but
Yeah,
I
I don't either.
very rarely remember anything I dreamt.
Yeah, so tough. But you obviously remember this
But I've
one.
had this dream at least 3 times. I wake up and I'm like, why does this keep happening? And it's total NMD dream because I'm in Texas.
Duh.
I'm seeing Blaze Foley.
Which I just did. You what? Okay, I'm gonna write down Blaze because we'll have to talk a second. Okay, you're seeing Blaze Foley,
I have one Blaze Foley like live album, so I
right?
don't know
There's
why.
not a ton of material.
He's not like a godfather of
Nope, nope,
Texas country or
nope,
anything. I
nope.
It's just sort of a legendary tale because he got shot and
Dude, did you watch the
but
documentary yet on Blaze?
Have I?
Did,
No. Is it on like
okay.
YouTube or something?
No, dude, I saw it on like Amazon or something. I'll make sure you get it because I just watched it. It was
Okay.
great. It was great. Yeah.
But
So I digress. Sorry, continue.
I wake up before the first song is even done every time.
Before the first,
Before
like
the
he's
first
playing
track
live,
is done live, I wake up.
you're up,
I'm the only one standing there watching them.
which happened. I mean, that kind of shit happened to Blaze Foley.
And
It's not like it was standing room only every time
and
he
I wake
played.
up every time during the first track. It's weird.
Huh.
I've had it
I
like
wonder
at
what that
least
is.
3 times.
And it's always Blaze Foley.
It's always Blaze Foley.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I don't know. I struggle with that. I don't know. That's intense. The
I
Texas
mean,
part makes perfect sense to me.
do you know who the Godfather or who would your idea of the Godfather of Red Dirt Country is?
I mean, the Godfather. I mean, you're always going to have to. For me, I think that stuff kind of really in Texas, especially in the whole. That was the Fourth of July picnic to me,
Yeah,
right?
I
So
mean the
that's
guys
really
that
to
I
me.
don't know a lot of these guys' music. I just know of them just from my being a
Well, and
scholar of Texas country.
fucking Joe Ely would be in there for me. Joe Ely would be in there. All the guys that were in the Flatlanders would be in there for me.
Tom
My
Skinner.
Towns Van Zant. Um, actually, you know who I really like from, and I know how much you love the Texas music scene. Um, I really liked, and he passed not too long ago, was Charlie Robeson. I just thought
Yeah,
he's a great Texas song. And don't forget, you also have like people forget. I do like David Allen Coe is much of a horrible
he's from
human being,
Ohio though.
but Texas, he was, from Dallas at that time, when he was really making music. So he was connected with that scene. Um, I don't know, man. To me, I feel like Willie Nelson put a lot of that on the map. And before Willie Nelson, would you say that the Texas Playboys would be the first
I mean, in my
highly?
opinion, the Godfather of Texas country is a guy named Tom Skinner. But
See, I don't know who that is. I'm sure I probably know his songs, maybe, but I'm not a Tom Skinner listener or follower or anything like that. And even Blaze Foley, someone I know was talking about Blaze Foley as if they were a real heavy fan of Blaze's. I
yeah,
didn't
not
even know. I didn't even know about Blaze Foley until a song called "Drunken Angel" came out,
yeah, the
and
live
it,
I have a live record. That's it.
yeah, and I like Blaze Foley's music now. Um, he was close with Towns Van Zandt. Like their friendship was very, very volatile and chemically driven because they're both
Yeah.
drunks. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Texas for me is always Willie, and actually, I mean, who put Texas music on the map? Buddy Holly, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, 50s.
in the popular before. I mean, the Texas Bob Wells and Texas Playboys, and
Yeah.
I mean, Asleep at the Wheel still an amazing band. Um, I don't know. There's so much of it, and I do like Charlie was probably my most favorite recent. I just liked Charlie. That album. What I can't even think of it. I think it's called Good Times.
Life of
Uh,
the Party?
no, nope.
No.
It's got he had a big single on it that I love. Natalie Main sang harmony on it. I've been looking for you, I've been looking for you. And all
Mm.
those pretty people up on El
Oh,
Cerrito
El
Place was
Cerrito
what it was called.
Place.
Yeah, which is a killer jam.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't know if that record's called Good Times. I think it is. It's got New Year's Day on it, which is a great song. Photographs on it. Um, uh, what's the pick up a pizza, pineapple pie, put it in the
I
good
don't
times
remember
I had
the
it. Yeah, I don't know. I love you, and you're so Texas centric. Um, but like Turnpike Troubadours are what from Oklahoma?
Oklahoma, yeah. A lot of those.
Still red dirt country, right? In
Oh
your
yeah,
mind, yeah.
Oklahoma. A lot of those guys are similar. I think Cody Canada's from Oklahoma.
Well, and those, I was telling somebody or talking to someone about that. Maybe it was Todd Long because Todd Long moved to Texas. I'm like, dude, there are bands who never get out of Texas, Oklahoma, that area, and are
Yeah.
humongous. And they don't have to go anywhere else, like
Yeah.
we've talked about before. God, we are sidetracked out like nobody has ever been. Um, I blame you. Your weird Texas music dreams. What's today's topic, sir?
One-offs and or side project bands of
What's your take,
guys.
dude, on one-offs and side projects? I hate a side project.
Do you? Well, because
Be,
you're so I want everybody to concentrate on this band.
I get butthurt about it. I
Yeah.
do. I get butthurt about it, and you know who is who who helped me get better about it, but is still like me is James Hetfield.
Yeah.
James Hetfield is John Merchant. That's how I feel. And I
Yeah,
know
they
this
didn't want
sounds
Jason
stupid,
doing that stuff with
dude. I
Boy
know
Bod.
it sounds stupid, but it's kind of like listening to James process through the way he felt about it helped me process through how I feel about it, and it's the same thing. I mean, he said he's like his his problem is he anything he loves he squeezes so tight.
Here's the difference with that band is it was James and Lars that Kirk and it's not like Kirk and Jason were getting lyrical input and things like
No,
that.
well, and he sees
So
that now.
that's why I mean, and you wonder why a guy wants a side project? You're a fucking asshole.
Well, here's what bothers me about
You
side
don't let him
projects.
have any input and you wonder why he wants a side project.
And
You're a
see, for me,
douchebag.
I get that. I can totally get that. But if you're in a band and you do have input, and you are writing and you're doing that, and then you have a side project, my concern is always so one of us, either this band or the side band or whatever, are you giving material away that could make our band better? Now, I don't hate it if you're in this rock and roll band and your side project is, who's a good example is like Chris Shiflett. He's in Foo Fighters, and he doesn't matter to Foo Fighters. Be honest. I mean,
You could plug
Dave Grohl
anybody in
doesn't
that spot.
anybody. So he's
Yeah.
got, but his is like this Americana type thing, and that I can get with. That makes sense to me. But when you're doing something and then your side project is the same, I'm going. One of us is getting the B stuff. You write something and you're like,
Yeah.
this is kick ass. And my feeling has always been like, so the side project gets at why didn't I get a shot at it? I know that sounds dumb. Now I'm better at it because I realize that it's for some people it's necessary. And I even get people say to me like, oh, you're in 100 different bands. It's not because I want to be in 100 different bands. It's because you can't get one band with four schedules where everybody's moving in the same direction much
Right.
anymore. Um, I do. I like a side project that's either different than the main thing, different than your
Mhm.
main ride. Because otherwise, I'd listen to Metallica. I don't need another Metallica. Um, or it just appears that they're just having it's either some mutual admiration or it just looks fun as hell. I like those
Yeah.
kind of side projects and one-offs. What's your first one?
The Grays with from Jason Faulkner,
Okay.
who was in
What is that?
Jellyfish.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's just weird stuff like Jellyfish type of it's a record called Rochambeau. They just did the
Oh
one.
yeah.
It's Jason Faulkner. I don't know the other guys in the band really. I probably do, but I don't off the top of my head don't know who they are. But it's
And
for me, it's if it's Jason Faulkner is there, then I'm on
then you're
board.
in.
Yeah. I like his solo stuff. This is not far off from his solo stuff. It's
And
not
you
as
said it's not
poppy as
far,
Jellyfish, but
but it's not far off. You can
right.
hear the connection, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, my first, this is a 100% one off because it was just a song. And it was the collaboration between Patterson Hood and the band Cracker. And it's a song called
Friends?
Friends. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a great tune. And it's fun, and Patterson's cool as hell in it. And I like, Patterson Hood popped up a couple places. He popped up on a Slobberbone record back in the day, called "Give Me Back My Dog,"
Oh, okay.
and he the song
Oh
and Pat,
yeah. I
yeah,
remember that song.
I think it's that tune where he's like, he sings on that. He might sing on another song too, because there's a strange way you count my failings, like some clerk, like you're the saint in this
At my
relationship, and
dog.
yeah. But the Patterson and Cracker, it's a killer song. It's a good buddy tune. The video is cool. It looks like it was done on the cheap. Um, and the it's killer. There's some great lines in it. Um, not a lot of people know about it. Even truckers fans. Not a lot of truckers fans are hip to it. Believe it or not. But that's one of my favorite one-offs was Patterson Hood with Cracker for Friends. And if you're into Cracker or the Drive By Trucker Patterson, that's worth checking out. That's a good one. What do you got next?
From the band called T Ride. They did one record that was self-titled in like, God, I don't know, 93. There's Jeff
Who's
Tyson on guitar, who was a student, I think, of Satriani.
who's the famous person on the side project? Is there anybody? A name?
Um, it was Jeff Tyson, who I think now lives in like Europe somewhere. Um, oh gosh. One of the guys is a producer now.
Okay.
The
Okay.
drummer, I think, or the bass player. It was just a three piece. They had a song on the radio called Backdoor Romeo.
Huh. Huh.
Um, it was a great this bass heavy. Dan Arley was one of the guys,
Okay. So
and
a side project, but not someone famous, quote unquote, not a household name who went off
no,
and did something. Yeah.
super shreddy guitars.
Oh, I like that.
It's cool. It's kind of a fall album for me because it's got the first track is called Rock and Roll Zombies from Hell, and it's just yeah. I think track two might be Backdoor Romeo, and when you hear Backdoor Romeo, you'll be like, oh, I remember this.
Oh, cool.
Because it was a radio heavy, especially around here in Grand Rapids. It was on KLQ back in
Oh
the
yeah.
day.
Yeah, they'll do
They
that.
toured with I saw them with somebody. I don't remember who. They might have opened for like Satriani or something like that.
Oh, that's so shreddy for sure.
At at I think it was
Eastbrook.
at Wing Stadium.
Oh wow. Wow. Let's see what I've got next in my side projects. I've got some popular ones too. I will go with this. I brought this project up. I know for a fact it's been in other shows. I know it has, and I sing its praises to everybody. Um, it's HSAS, Hagar, Sean, Aronson, and Shreve. Um, it's
Man.
Sammy Hagar, Neil Sean.
Yep.
And they had a whole album called Through the Fire. They had at that time a VHS come out, a concert video, and it's heavy. It's almost like Neil is playing more like you know what it is. HSAS. I think I'm going to say this was sort of a glimpse of what would happen if Sammy Hagar joined Van Halen
Okay.
because the songs are super poppy and
I don't
killer.
remember this at
It's
all.
so freaking good, dude. So good. I mean, you gotta like Hagar, which I do. I love Journey, which so that was fine. But it's like you're talking Neil now is playing some pretty and Hagar's not playing guitar, he just sings. And
Okay.
like
Wow.
shreddy guitar, like not super shreddy, but Van Halen asking spots and um but heavy and just kick ass. They have a cover on the album of Whiter Shade of Pale by
Oh,
Procol Harum.
Procol
And it's
Harum. Yeah.
great, dude. And Hagar sings great during it. The live concert video is awesome. It's and there are people who know about it because every once in a while I'll post something to talk about it, and there'll be a couple HSAS people. I bought the record in 1984, and then it went out of print. Like you couldn't get it
Yeah.
forever. And then I special ordered a CD when I worked at Music Magic, and then I got it. So yeah,
Like an import or
HSAS,
something.
something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna sneeze, everyone. So forgive me. I'm gonna try to get off the mic when the
So
sneeze
I
comes.
have this is not something that I claim to be bumping constantly, but I break this record out a few times a year, and it's the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill from Lauryn Hill.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I just
I
saw
mean,
something about Lauren Hill. She
98
just
when that record came out, and then there was another one, not a one off, but D'Angelo, who
Uh-huh. Yep.
does a track on this record with her. He put out a record called Voodoo that's also just a legendary R&B rap record.
Wasn't the Lauryn Hill? It was Miseducation of Lauryn Hill was the big one. That was her
That was
Grammy
her mic drop. That
winner.
was it.
It was
It's the
huge.
only thing she's ever done.
Well, she just screwed something up. Someone just released Nas released a diss track to Lauryn Hill because Lauren blew the Fugees tour that was coming up. They had a
Oh
tour
yeah.
planned, and she's kind of out there, right? Like
Yeah.
she's not on terra firma at all times.
I think
She's a
yeah.
little out there.
That's probably why another reason why I mean she said what she had to say maybe, I don't know,
Yeah,
but
that's a
it's
great.
a
Does that
it's a
have that
badass
thing on it?
record.
Is
Huh?
that thing on that record?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great tune too.
I think it's doo wop that thing or something like
Yes,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. That was a
There's a
big. That
track
was a
with D'Angelo on there, and
huge record.
it's
Huge.
cool.
My next one featured Cher Peterson from Vixen, Bobby Blotzer from Rat. You know what band it is?
They did all the way from Memphis.
Yeah,
I can't
Contraband.
remember the name of the band though.
Contraband, they were called.
Contraband.
Yes, and that was the so it was
And
Tracy Guns and
it's
then
it's a
Richard Black.
really dated sounding record.
Very dated, but their cover of All the Way to Memphis is cool. And Tracy Guns is a side project machine.
Yes.
He's done especially in recent years, but even back then he had Contraband. He played in Brides of Destruction with Nikki Sixx.
Yep.
He's done things with Michael Sweet from Striper. He's popped up with George Lynch. He did a thing with Jack Russell.
Ghosts of Sunset.
He did a thing with some Sunset. Yeah. So that Contraband record, that was one of the first ones and you got to remember when that Contraband thing came out, LA Guns and Rat were big time, dude.
That
And it
record
bugged
went
me.
around my high school.
It bugged me back then that the guys like Tracy and Blotz were doing something outside the bands because you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, that
But
record went around my high school big time.
yeah, yeah, because it was. I mean, those were big names at the time to kind of have doing
Well,
something
yeah, when
together.
you're 16, you're like super group. I mean, like you didn't
Yeah,
understand
right,
what a super group was yet.
right, 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 exactly. So yeah, I put Contraband on there for a nod to my childhood. What do you got next?
The Postal Service. They had one record called Give Up. It's Benjamin Jabard from Death Cab for Cutie. It's from
I
like
know that name.
'03.
Okay.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's a great if you like Death Cab, you'll like this record. It's cool. It's I don't remember who else it's with. It's another like super group thing. Um, but they did like a 10-year reunion
Oh,
where they
cool.
re-released it and had, bonus tracks. So
Oh, killer.
yeah, if you, I mean, I like Death Cab, not everything, but I like a bunch of their records, and he does other cool stuff. Like he did a record with Jay Farrar. That's
Oh,
cool.
wow.
That's
Oh,
I
yes,
could
yes.
have
I've
also
seen that go
mentioned.
by.
Well, I did mention it, but
Yeah,
it's not
right.
on my
I've seen that
list.
go by.
Yeah, it's called
I
One Fast Mover, I'm Gone, the one he did with Jay Farrar.
Wow, and I've never been a Death Cab person just because I haven't tried. So maybe that's worth exploring. My next one I'm gonna tell you who's on guitar. You can tell me if you know the project. On guitar, it's George Lynch, Carlos Cavazo from Quiet Riot, Yngwie Malmsteen, Dave Murray and Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden, George Lynch from Dokken, um, Vivian Campbell from Dio.
And
It was the Hearing Aid project. Do you remember
oh,
USA the heavy metal for Africa thing?
yes.
I've been into that lately and just kind of the lore behind it and what everything was like
Were
and
those
just
album track? What did they do on that record?
so the full record, which I had on cassette, I don't think I do now. It's the Hearing Aid Stars, right? The song that sounds like Dio. And then I feel like it's live cuts and other things from other
Okay.
bands, right? Like I think there's a live Hungry for Heaven by Dio on there or something. Maybe a live Quiet Riot cut. I'll have to look that up because that record, I'm sure it's out of print. Um, but there's a documentary about it. It's pretty cool. It's it Vivian Campbell wrote the song with Jimmy Bain from Dio, and Vinny Appice. So Dio, it sounds like a Dio song. It's a Dio song, but it was a I mean, come on, as a kid, and by the way, I shared this with some friends of mine who I play with in the American Hairband. I'm watching this documentary the other night on it, and Carlos Cavazo and Yngwie Malmsteen are like, I don't know, I'm gonna just say they're going from like the live out of the live room into a lounge or whatever. But the door pops up,
Yeah,
all these people are walking through like a who's who. Those two walk out, and like Carlos Cavazo, you can't hear talking, music's playing over the top, but he almost like taps his nose and looks at Ingve and points, and then the two of them walk away together. And I said to the guys, I'm like, just watch this and tell me if you think he's indicating let's go to the line. And they were like, for sure, dude, it's captured. That's what it looks like. And you can tell in this documentary there are guys are pretty blown out. Like Kevin Dubrow from Quiet Riot's in there, and he is fucked up, man. Just you can tell. And I'm sure you gather I'll bet you USA for Africa, right? We Are the World. They're doing buckets of blow and something like that. So,
absolutely.
yeah, Hearing Aid, We're Stars, We're Stars. That's my one off. And that was a fundraiser. So the classic one off is always a fundraiser. Those are the classics, right? Where you
Yeah,
get a bunch of huge people together and then cop a jam for some
those
good
are
cause.
great.
What do you got next?
I have a side project called The Last Shadow Puppets. And the only two people in the band that I know is Miles Kane, who was in a short-lived band called the Rascals, not to be confused with
Not
Jeff
to,
Young,
okay.
and because they're British.
Yeah, right.
And I can't think of his name, Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys.
Okay. That's a band I've heard of.
Um,
Huh.
so yeah,
What's
Miles
it like?
Kane is it's very similar to Arctic Monkeys. Alex Kane or Miles Kane, sorry. Alex Kane's a different guy.
Yeah.
Miles Kane is was the lead singer from the Rascals, and he just has solo stuff now. And he's sort of like if you're into the Killers or Neon Trees, bands like that,
Oh, I love Neon Trees.
you dig
Is
Miles
Neon
Kane.
Trees, I think, is Neon Trees the band with Everybody Talks? Yes.
Yes,
Everybody Talks. That's a kick ass jam, dude. That's a
yeah.
great song.
I
And
sent I
oh, what a
asked
great song.
our pal Denny Smith recently if he was familiar with Miles Kane, and he texted me back and said, I dig this. It sounds like Neon Trees. So
Yeah. I love Neon. And she doesn't know it because she never listens to the show. But my wife always acts like I never give her any credit for anything. It's pretty common around these parts. But my wife is good for bringing in, she'll bring in random songs into the family. Um, Neon Trees was one of them. Was Everybody Talks, and the front man for that band is awesome. He just is great on and delivers live. Can sing. I mean, the
yeah,
band's killer. Yeah, love that song. Oh my god, I love that. And now I've actually seen a couple like I call them corporate bands, and it sounds like a slight to them, but it's not. But like corporate bands, we've got a boy singer and a girl singer and horns
yeah.
maybe, and we're
I
all
think
reading charts. And
is the dude's
there's
name
a
Tyler Glenn from Neon Trees?
could
Yeah,
be,
I
could be
think so.
awesome, 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 man. Yeah, good one. Let's see what I got next. Maybe you'll remember this band. This is kind of roots rock all star stuff. They're called the Yahoos.
Yeah, Dan Baird.
Yeah, Dan Baird, Eric Campbell,
Yeah.
Roscoe's in there. Different people. They I got into them from that compilation album I still sing the praises of called Rig Rock Deluxe, which was a tribute to America's truckers. And that had like Shaver on it, Jim Lauderdale, the Bottle Rockets, Sun Volt, you name it. They were
Hmm.
all on it. and the Yahoos were on it. They did a song called Highway Junkie, and which Chris Knight covers too.
Yes.
It's really cool. I mean, I love Dan Baird. I mean, Dan Baird's rock and roll machine, legend. And I hate that people, even musicians, there are a lot of musicians that if you say Georgia Satellites, they're dickish about it because of that fucking single that everybody, I was telling my son not too long ago, the reason that songs like Born to Be Wild and Tush by ZZ Top and Keep Your Hands to Yourself, why they've been wore out is because structurally they're pretty easy for a beginning, mid-level, intermediate player to play. You can get instant results because you can play the intro to jing 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 jing. It's one of the first things you learn on a guitar, that little kind of
Yeah.
blues progression. But Dan Baird and Georgia Satellites are the shit, man. That first Georgia Satellites record is killer, and Up All Night's pretty good too.
It's
But that first record is gold, dude.
it's one of
It's so
those bands
kick-ass.
that's proof of if you just listen to the singles, you're so missing
You,
out.
if you just listen to the single of Georgia Satellites, you're a fool. You're missing everything.
You are
Because,
so missing out.
and that's how I knew like Jack Lever and Greg Miller, Greg Miller, Mitch Wood, Todd Truman, the Duchesnes. I always equated the cool, and I've said this before. I always equated the cool in the band with like Greg and Mitch because I knew Greg, and he's super cool, and I knew Mitch a little bit, and I always thought I think it was Jack, dude. I think it was Jack Lever who was probably picking cover tunes and stuff. I'll have to ask sometime, but I think he was the cool, and they covered Battleship Chains.
Yeah.
They didn't play Keep Your Hands to Yourself. They played Battleship Chains,
I
which is
have
a great
two
tune.
I have two Yahoo's records.
Yeah, they're cool.
Put the
And
Hammer Down and one other one.
and Eric Ambel will pop up in a lot of those kind of things too in the Americana scene because he's Americana's Waddy Wachtel almost. He's that guy, you know. He'll play on everyone's record. He was in the Dukes, man. He was in Steve Earle and the Dukes.
Yeah.
And yeah, that Yahoo's record's real good. What do you got next?
You might have heard of this record, Blind Faith,
I had no idea
self-titled.
who that is. Is that a hairband? Um, is the rumor of Blind Faith? I think the story I heard is like Ginger Baker invited himself. Like
Yeah,
Clapton didn't want him in Blind Faith, and
that's
Ginger Baker like shows up,
yeah,
right? Because he wants to play with Winwood and
yeah.
dude,
Just hit him with his cane or what?
exactly, break his nose. What an asshole. Um, dude, that that couldn't last anyhow. Like something like that. That's
No.
too many egos, dude. Keeping Ginger Baker in a band is got to be tough just to deal with him. And I love Ginger Baker. I mean, I'm trying to turn my son on to Ginger Baker. Um, as a musician myself or pseudo musician myself, I wouldn't want to play with him. That shit would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
But yet he works in Cream, he worked cool in Blind Faith. And I mean, still Blind Faith gave us Can't Find My Way Home,
Can't find my way. Yeah.
which I still try to play in my living room all the time. And I love it. And I mean, plus Clapton, there's a classic live video of them playing. It looks like an outdoor, like they're on a flatbed truck in San Francisco or whatever. I'm sure it's not that, but and Clapton's playing a telly, which is cool. Yeah,
Man.
that's a huge band. That
Just
blind
and
huge.
you know how much I love Winwood, and so
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's such a great record. There's I don't know who all plays on it, but there's a cool version of Can't Find My Way on a Winwood box set I have. That's
Uh-huh.
man, it's so great.
So are you
And House of Lords does
I was
the
just gonna say, I was just dang it, dude. I was just gonna like hold you to task and be like, so is there any other covers of that you like? And see if you would hit the House of Lords one. That's a great cover, by the way.
Sahara, right?
Yes. Yes, that's a great cover. I love that. Their cover of that.
Was that produced by like Tom Lord Alge or
I don't know.
now I'm going way too
The
far.
House of Lords band, I remember the keyboard player in House of Lords, I believe, was Greg Giuffria from the band Giuffria, and he was an angel at one
Yeah,
time.
and the drummer was oh God.
Was he someone famous?
Kotak.
Oh, from Kingdom Come,
I think it was James
James.
Kotak.
Well, and
Maybe.
I feel like one of the like someone else was a hurricane guy, like Robert Sarzo or one of
Oh
those dudes,
yeah.
or a Cabazo or someone. Rain Root
We'll have to look.
Robert Cabazo, maybe. I don't know. Anyhow, yeah, House of Lords. God, we did sidetrack the shit out of that one. So we got there through your blind faith. So dude. Now we talked at the start of the show, and I didn't. What I've been riding heavy lately is this, and I'm gonna have to get the title. I think it's called the Black River Sessions. It's Kenny Roby, who I love from Six String Drag, who I
Yeah.
love, 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 and Neil Casal, who
Oh, okay.
solo artist, writer. Neil Casal, I've said this before, came on my radar through two things. I saw him with Ryan Adams, and he's in the video for Everybody Knows, and it's really
Okay.
good. And then the next thing I knew is Todd Snyder was talking about him,
Yep.
and they were in Hardworking Americans together.
Yep.
There's this Black River session. They're doing like six string drag tunes. They do Chopping Block and some other six string songs. They do some Kenny Roby solo. They do one of Neil Casal's songs that I hesitate to share because I don't want anyone there. And now I can say, and I'll have a document because this happens to me, and you're not going to believe me. But dude, I'll pick the most obscure shit you can think of to cover, and then all of a sudden, like people are covering it. And I have a great. I've been in this area for, man, I don't know, 20 some years. I started covering Never Been to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm like, nobody's covering. I've never heard anybody do
The
it
Hoyt Axton
acoustically.
tune, yeah.
Right. And then like a local dude's playing Never Been to Spain. So I don't play it anymore. It happens all the time. Like there's Concrete Blonde's Joey. I've been doing that since before Dutch Henry. Now there's a local band that plays Joey. So I don't play it anymore. I hesitate to share this song because I don't want to
Don't share
share
it.
it. And I'm gonna. It's called Maybe California. I want you to check it out, dude, by Neil Casal. It's the shit. It's California country, dude. He introduces it on this record and says, well, his partner, and I can't think of the dude's last name, John is his first name. He's like, John said he wanted to do Maybe California tonight. And he goes, so we'll go back to the old times out in Joshua Tree, freaking out. And they play this song. You're gonna love it. That
Did you
album
check
is
out the EP he did with Shannon McNally I sent you?
I did. I did, and it was good. Um, I like this better, and the only reason is because I know Kenny's songs. So I had
Right.
something to start with. I had
And
something to start with.
if
And
you're
now I
not
realize Neil Casal is a legend.
if
He was a
and I want
legendary
to
dude.
see if you agree with me on this because I don't think I've ever said this to you, but would you agree that if you're into Elvis Costello, you're gonna be into six string drag?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And Six String Drag will give you, or has given me, I just sent Kenny a message 2 weeks ago, a week ago. And I'll do this to a handful of people that I have access to, right? I can't fucking text Jimmy Page or anything. But I was driving, listening to Six String Drag, which I'm apt to do driving. It's the only time I really get to focus on music. I got to the gig. I sent Kenny a message. I said, dude, and I do it because I have the messages. I don't get into his business. I don't try to be fan out too much. I just always go, dude, I just want to say thanks again. Just want to say thanks again. Because Six String Drag has given me a lot over the years. And of course, he always responds, "Thanks a lot. How you doing?" He nicknamed. I don't know if you were at that gig where he called name me Taco John. His nickname for me, Taco John. Um, and so he's always like, "How always good to hear from you, TJ." And we shoot shit a little bit, and that's that. Um, Six String Drag, dude, is kick at. They are the band. They sound like
Yeah.
the band. They sound like sometimes the staple singers. Kenny Roby is a killer songwriter. A lot of people do live streams, and since the pandemic,
Yeah.
video live streams, lots of people, tons of people, too many. Um, and I watch some of them. Like I will watch my friends sometimes, watch a couple tunes. I watched Jack Lever one time in his kitchen in his
Yeah.
jammy pants, which really pissed me off. At least get dressed, Jack. But he did like a killer version of uh, To Love Somebody, the Bee Gees tune. So I watch them. Kenny Robies, I watch the whole thing. I don't just pop in for a
He
song.
usually does them on Wednesdays, if I
I watch
remember.
the whole thing, and they're awesome. And you can sometimes request songs or whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah, so check out that Kenny Roby and Neil Casal stuff, and check out maybe California. If one of you people listening tell you either go out and start gigging and rip me off, or tell somebody I'm coming for it. I'll be at your front door like Jay and Silent Bob. Remember when they went on the "How many people want to
You want to
kick
kick
some ass?"
some ass? Yeah.
All right, what do you got next?
I have Mad Season Above.
I have that record. Believe it or not, someone gave it to me. Yeah, that's Mike McCready's in that.
Yep. Lane
Lane
Staley.
Staley.
Yep.
There's someone else. Stone
Barrett
Gosling's
Strong.
not in it. There is someone in there from like Brad or Tad or one of those bands, or Screaming
Barrett
Trees,
Strong.
maybe. I think
Barrett
someone's from
Strong
Screaming
from
Trees.
the Screaming Trees is the drummer.
Okay.
And then the
Yeah.
bass player is oh God. I don't remember what band he's from. But
That
yeah,
was a
they're
good
all
one.
from known bands, yeah.
So can I piggyback on yours real quick? That's not on my
Yeah.
list, but you almost got to put Temple of the Dog in there.
It's not on your list?
No. Is it on
Okay.
yours?
No, it's on my I mean, I have a list here of 16 that I narrowed down to 10 and it's on there, but I thought you would have it.
I kind of usually would too. I don't know why I didn't. Probably
I
because I
know one
went,
you do have.
"Oh, you're gonna try me right now in public, like right now?"
I
And I won't lie
guarantee.
to you. I'll show you my page. I'd show you my page. I've been drawing some boxes and stuff
I
too. Trust me.
guarantee I know. I have 3 left, so
I have four left.
okay.
All right, let's keep going. And if I hit it, you tell me you had it. Better yet, you can write it. Do you have it written down?
What yours is?
Yeah. I want you to
I
write it
didn't
down.
include it on my list
I
because I
want you to
knew
write
you'd
it
have
down,
it.
physically write it down right now. I want to see how well you think you know me. So if I nail it, you can hold this thing up and be like, "See, told you."
Okay.
I think I know which one. I'm going to put an asterisk by it because I think it's the one you'll say I have.
This is
All
your
right.
favorite one off ever.
Oh shit! Really? Okay.
Yep.
Am I? I had Neil Casal. I don't even know where we're at. Go ahead. Do your next one.
Okay, Middle Brother, which is a record I've
Why have
mentioned
you
on here
mentioned
before.
that before?
It's
Yeah.
a super group of it's John McCauley, the lead singer from Deer Tick,
Yes.
Matthew
That's
Vasquez from Delta Spirit, and Taylor Goldsmith from Dawes.
yeah. Who just
It's
played in Ludington
super
not
cool.
too
They
long
just
ago?
trade off vocals. Um, they do a replacement song.
No, cool.
They do a Dawes song called Million Dollar Bill, which is
Nice.
super different and cool because John McCauley does some vocals on it. And yeah, it's I really love John McCauley's voice. It's really rough, like a Ben from Lucero. It's that,
Right.
not winning any contests.
Not winning American Idol anytime soon.
But in my book, he's, one
I
of the
know.
tops. I
I
love
love Ben.
those gravelly voices like that.
Our friend Bruce said the reason he can't get into Lucero is Ben's voice.
Oh, see
Yeah.
then might not
Yeah.
like Deer Tick.
I love Ben's voice.
But Middle Brother is just got the one record outright. They've been asked if they're gonna do more, but nothing so far.
I'm my next one. It's hard for me to call it. It's side project. It's kind of a super group, but it was a band at one time. So I don't know if I can really say this that they, oh yeah, this is a side project, but Mudcrutch,
Yeah, I'd
which
say
is because that's, if we're being honest, you could almost, I mean, Mudcrutch was the Heartbreakers. They became the Heartbreakers,
yeah.
but when there was something endearing to me, and it's just because Tom Petty did it. Like I said, you know how I feel about side work. I'm sure I would have been upset that Petty was. I was a little pissy when Tom Petty started making solo records without the Heartbreakers.
Yeah,
I was the Jeff Lynne era. I got a little shitty about that,
you don't love those as much as you love the Heartbreakers records, that's
dude.
for sure.
When like Into the Great Wide Open, I think was a solo Petty thing, and
Yeah.
Wildflowers was solo Petty.
Wildflowers.
And Jeff Lynne was starting to really, and I love ELO and I love Jeff Lynne, and Jeff Lynne
It
is
was really starting to come through though.
dude, it was really, they did cool stuff, and I've grown to love.
Yeah.
I mean, I own Wild, of course I do. And I Into the Great Wide Open's a great record, and all. I mean, Ringo's on those records, like
Mm-hmm.
Ringo's on, and but when you get away from the Heartbreakers, I'm really not being cool because I love the Heartbreakers so much, and I've already, like, if I could meet Tom Petty, I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't say anything. I'd be freaked out. But what I'd like to say is, I don't know what Stan Lynch did to you. I know he was a dick. I know Stan Lynch was a dick, and my guess is he was probably a coked up dick, which is the
Oh,
worst kind. The worst kind. But dude, and I love Steve Ferrone. He's a fine drummer. He's a fine drummer. Obviously, Ringo Starr's a great drummer. Is the drummer. But dude, you get away from. There's something about the Heartbreakers with Stan Lynch on drums that is the game changer.
yeah.
So Mudcrutch, I should be butthurt about, but it was Petty's first band. Petty was on bass, so that helped me feel a little bit better
Yep.
about
He
it.
didn't always sing.
They brought the other drummer, the drummer from Mudcrutch in, who was the dude they let go.
Yeah.
They replaced him with Stan. Um, Great move, and the guy's looks is a fine drummer, looks like a hell of a nice guy and everything. But um, that Mudcrutch record, cool. That's California country. That's where you can hear that Petty was. I mean, I can hear, everybody can hear the Birds and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, all of us,
Oh,
right?
that song
Roger McGuire.
Welcome to Hell is so Birds.
But Mudcrutch had more of like the Flying Burrito Brothers to me. There's a Leaden in there. What is the he's not Bernie, he's his brother. What is, oh my God, the guitar player. This is embarrassing. In Mudcrutch.
Oh,
Anyhow,
I'm not sure of the
anyhow,
band members.
yeah. He's because Benmont Tench was in Mudcrutch, the organ player for the
Yep.
Heartbreakers. And of course, um Mike Campbell's guitar player in Mudcrutch. So you had those elements, but I thought that was cool that they did that, and I wasn't as butthurt as I normally am because it was so different. What do you got next?
A British band called the Dum Dums. The record is called It Goes Without Saying.
Who's that? Who's in it? Anybody would know?
The singer now is solo. His name is Josh Doyle. I think he lives in Nashville.
Name sounds familiar.
Um, but that Dum Dums record is great. I accidentally did what I've done 100 times to you. I mentioned it before Denny Smith can mention it on our British album show. I took
Oh
one
yeah,
away from him.
yeah, yeah. I remember that now. The Dum Dums. I'm putting that down. Okay. I only have two more left, so I'm
I
going to
have
go with
one
this.
left.
Okay, I'm going with this one, and I don't think this is the one you think I have. Oh wait, I have two more left. Sorry. Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as side project as you can get. And side projects are usually like, hey, famous dude or gal, sorry, I mean, I'm not being sexist, but famous person and then some other people, right? Who
Yeah.
you're like in Mudcrutch and hung
Usually
with. Traveling Wilburys was
heavy hitters.
unprecedented. Heavy hitters. Well, rock royalty, music royalty. The one thing that I do share about the Wilburys that means a lot to me because of my, and it's not my, I say my family's connection, but it's my wife. My wife is very connected to Del Shannon. Um, and has spent a lot of, I had Del Shannon in her life as not as Del Shannon as a little kid. My wife had Charlie Westover was the one who went to the 4th of July, and the pictures we have it's funny, the pictures we have are obviously Del Shannon is Charlie Westover. The pictures are Charlie at the parade. The pictures are Charlie at the hotel or at
Mm.
the barbecue. But Del was in line to be in the Traveling Wilburys.
Oh, wow.
Like Petty wanted him in the Wilburys. Those guys, I mean, the story of how it all became, how cool it is, the fact I think the Traveling Wilburys still be a band. I mean, obviously Petty's gone now, but I think when Roy Orbison passed away, I think even with Dylan, when you have Dylan, I think in a room, the room revolves around Dylan. Neil Young's like that too, I think. Even if you're not talking to him, the room is kind of circling around this central figure. I
Yeah.
think in the Traveling Wilburys, even with Dylan, um, with Jeff Lynne, Petty, um, I think everybody revolved around Roy Orbison, including Dylan. I think Roy Orbison was the thing that held it together because they all loved Roy Orbison. So
Mm,
everyone does. So yeah, Traveling Wilburys, great, great, great stuff. Would have been more if Roy had um passed away. What do you have
yeah.
next?
My final,
Lay down me.
Pride and Glory, self-titled. Zach
Shit,
Wild.
was that one album?
One album, man. 1994, I think.
How could I not have
The one
that?
with the cow on the cover, the cows.
Dude, the one that has Losing Your Mind on it, Horse Called Wars on it. How heavy
Found a
is Horse?
friend.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
Troubled
that
Wine, all those. Machine
I
Gun Man. Man.
Machine Gun Man about his dad. I love Zach Wild. We all know that. I love. Sure, the personas become a bit much, but he's still genuine and he's still funny and he's still Zach. He's still like that. Um, and this is going to be hugely unpopular. I actually watched a couple videos of what we're calling Pantera right now. It's First of all, Zach is a great player, and I think people are bitching about it. Who else are you putting in? I mean, Dime and Zach were brothers, man, and Zach Wild is playing some of the, but he's being Zach Wild. He's not trying to be Dime. He's not. He's literally just like he always is. Um, but I saw him do Walk. You know, the big Pantera hit.
Yeah. Dun, dun,
It was
dun. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was
Mm.
really cool. And I just think that that's perfect. Pride and Glory, though, that's my favorite Zach of all time.
It's the best Zach.
It's the best Zach. I want that Zach. I
Southern
have a
Rock
pair.
Zach is the best
Is the
version of
best Zach.
Zach.
Man, he's killer. And Pride and Glory is it. And that was when I met Brian Tishy. That was the thing. That was what opened that door. That's how that relationship started, by me being the only dude in, I don't know, shouting distance easily, but probably in the whole place coming to watch. People were coming to watch Foreigner, and I was like, dude, I love Pride and Glory. Let's talk about Pride and Glory, and that was fun. And that Zach on banjo, but killer heavy guitar. That's heavy, but it's like heavy metal Skinner almost. I mean, which Zach would
Yeah.
probably say. That's a great record, great
Well, he's
wah
got that
stuff.
side band called Leonard Skinhead.
Yeah, and
Have you
I
heard
just
that? He's got that like cover band.
well, I like Zach Sabbath. I think he's cool in that too. His Sabbath thing.
Yeah, Zach Sabbath, and he's
That's
got
great.
Leonard Skinhead.
I think Zach Wild loves music and likes playing guitar and loves cover tunes. He always has. He's always playing cool covers. I have a videotape over in the other room of him down in Niles, Michigan, at a guitar center, set up in the parking lot, playing with two dudes from the area, playing Tush and Mississippi Queen and stuff like that. Crossroads,
Yeah.
Sunshine of Your Love. Yeah. Oh man, why wouldn't I have Pride and Glory? That's my favorite Zach. I have bell bottoms in my closet right now. Oh, that's my favorite Zach. Oh, that's killer. All right. Wow. Well done. So
No, you're number
I have
one.
no, I have two more. I don't know how to count.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yeah, you probably. I'm sure you just talked over me. I'm just kidding. The band Swag that I've talked about before. Swag was a side project for Robert Reynolds from the Mavericks, Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick, Ken Coomer from Wilco,
Yep.
and Scotty Huff, who at that time was playing with Keith Urban, and I knew of them. Like I was hip to them before we ever. I mean, I'm trying to think. I might be lying because I think maybe Scotty meant yes. So Dutch Henry starts working with Scotty Huff. Scotty and I are on the phone talking. I'm talking about how much I love Wilco. He's talking about, oh, I'm doing a thing with Ken Coomer. And I'm like, I love Ken Coomer. And in that same conversation, before he even told me who all was in Swag, I started talking about Cheap Trick. And he's like, dude, Ken and Tom and I are doing this thing. And it was Swag. The album's called Catch All. It's power pop deliciousness. Um, Denny Smith has a connection to it, and Denny's connection might be something like he's maybe Robert Reynolds has rubbed him the wrong way because Robert tried to take Kenny to
Kenny,
be
right?
to play in Swag or something and got Coomer instead. But it's power pop, dude. It's awesome. Beatles
Okay.
stuff, Cheap Trick stuff. Oh, Jerry Dale McFadden, the guitar or the piano player for the Mavericks, and he was, I think, in Sixpence None the Richer at one time. He's in it too.
Okay.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I'll
And
check it out.
oh yeah, Swag Catch-All. It's killer. It's power pop. I thought, yeah, it's so power poppy, and no one. It's gonna sound. I wonder what it sounded like live. They didn't play a bunch live. Well, they played the 5 spot in Nashville when we were coming through, and we opened for them, and it was as good live as it was on the record. It was cool. Robert Reynolds played guitar at that gig and came in, dude, with an Epiphone 335 that still had the price tag on it from the pawn shop on the way there.
Oh, wow.
He bought like a $250 guitar and played the show at the 5 spot on it.
Jeez.
It's really cool. Yeah, Swag. So now I get to do my last one, which is the one that you claim to know me so well that
Yeah.
I'm gonna have.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna hold mine up to the camera right now and see if you were right. And if you're not right, I wonder who you thought I would have. I have Golden Smog.
No.
Oh, who do you have? Am I gonna be pissed that I missed it? What
Yeah.
did you think it was gonna be? This is oh man, I
Apple.
can't.
Apple by Mother Love Bone.
I'm gonna tell you why I didn't see that as a side project
It's
because
not a side project, it's a one-off. It's the only album they ever did.
they had Shine though. They had the EP
I'm talking
Shine.
full length studio
Yeah,
album.
okay. I can see where you would think I would.
Because technically Lauryn Hill did a MTV Unplugged, but she only
Yeah,
did one record.
yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. Shine though was the EP that got them the deal to make Apple. Um,
Right.
and I never saw. Yes, so you saw it as a one-off. I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'm gonna give you that. If I
But
had
Golden
seen,
Smog, yeah, that record's
I if I had seen that more, because for me, Love Bone Apple came out so far after Shine. Like I had Shine for a long time, dude. I had it for a
yeah, I
long
did
time on
not.
cassette.
I got Apple, so
I had Shine on cassette, which I'm looking back, I can almost name the tracks on it. There's 4 or 5, Mind Shaker Meltdowns on there, Half Ass Monkey Boy, Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns, and something else.
Captain High Top, I think maybe.
Yes, that sounds right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that as Love Bone's debut. And I think Apple maybe. I feel like Andrew passed away pretty close to the release of Apple.
I think it was within weeks before or after. Yeah, it was.
I love that band so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that good pick for me. That's a good one. I'm gonna go to Golden Smog real quick.
Yeah.
Um, who again, I got that Golden Smog EP when I was working at the record store. Um, because when the record store went out of business that I worked at, not BIM, because that was a chain.
Yeah.
But when I worked at Music Magic, that we went out of business, which all record stores did, right? And this dude had to go out of business because here I'm working in Muskegon, Michigan, with a population. You know, heavy metal was big in Muskegon, Michigan, and urban rap music was big. And I
Hmm.
just I'm on a group, and you might be too, like the I worked at Believe in Music group
Yeah.
on Facebook. I just was telling in a conversation on that page about Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em by MC Hammer and To the Extreme by Vanilla Ice. And I did, dude. I can remember bringing them the boxes of those in on a hand cart, and we weren't putting them out on the shelf. Just like Eddie Trunk talked about when Metallica's Black Album was released. He worked at Tower, I think. It was the same deal, dude. You'd walk in the door, and I'd be, "What? You here for a Hammer? Yep. Don't go back there. It's right here." I mean,
Yeah.
that's how many we were selling, and we kept running out of them.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I got Golden Smog from Music Magic, which was a small store. So he didn't carry any rap or urban music. He didn't carry any metal. He carried import. If it was metal, it was extreme because it was imported.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the Golden Smog EP for sale, like the first one,
Yeah.
and that's covers with Dave
Yeah,
Pirner
it's got
from
like Shooting Star,
dude,
right?
and the Cowboy song is on
Yep.
there.
The Thin
Um,
Lizzy too. Yeah.
yeah. It's got so that is Dave Dave Pirner's on the EP. He sings one of the songs. I think he sings Shooting Star.
I think he
Um,
does. Yes.
Dan Murphy is there from Soul Asylum. He's a
Yep.
member. Jeff Tweedy from
Jeff.
Wilco, Uncle Tupelo at the time. You had Craig Johnston from Run Westy Run. The drummer was I can't think of his name right now, but he was actually in a band called the Honey Dogs that were big in Minneapolis.
Okay.
And at one time, I feel like Jody Porter from Big Star popped through there and probably recorded a little bit.
Mm.
And they had two albums. They had the EP, which was covers, and then they had their own album,
Yeah.
which was called two of them maybe. Yes, they had Weird Tales, and then they had another one.
They have
But I
more
can't think.
stuff.
Yeah, now they've
Yeah.
continued on. I've heard story. Oh, geez, I'm an idiot. Gary Loris from the Jayhawks is in Golden Smog.
Oh yeah.
Um, I had heard stories that Uncle Tupelo had gotten so bad between Jay and Jeff that Jeff went up to just write with Dan Murphy from Soul Asylum just because he was so miserable being around Jay.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't pitch your songs to him. At the end of Tupelo, those two guys were so petty and shitty with each other. They quit singing harmony on each other's songs.
Yeah. The whole late show thing with Conan O'Brien. I think they were supposed to play a Jay song, and then at the last minute they played the long cut, and he was
Mm-hmm.
pissed off. And
I think if I'm not mistaken, yeah, they played the long cut, and I think they were supposed to play Chickamauga.
yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
either Carry At It Easy or Chickamauga or one
it
of
was
those. Yep.
Chickamauga. Yeah, off. Well, they were. That was for us, for guys like me who loved them so much. I thought that was I was going to see them, and that was going to be the last time before everybody knew who Uncle Tupelo was, and they became a big band, and that never happened. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, you had Mother Love Bone. Good. Yeah. So there's our one offs, and there's a ton of them. There's everybody nowadays. It's gotten way bigger because you don't have to get in a room, so you can do collaborations online, and you could. But back in the day, these things, like if you were going to make Blind Faith, dude, I mean, you're talking schedules and flying around and rich people and so that was especially cool if you saw something like that. Well, even Cream, like the Cream,
Yeah.
there's or the Yardbirds. Those are Zeppelin. I mean, although you know John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page were well-known guys. I mean, Page was in the Yardbirds. Zeppelin was the new Yardbirds. Robert and Bonham were unknown. They were just dudes that were it'd be like me getting to play with, some fate with someone well known or something.
Right.
So yeah, I do like a good, and it gets crazy, especially in the digital age now. There's a lot, like I love him, but Tracy's Guns has done a ton of them. George Lynch is good for him. George Lynch had that project with Doug Pinnick from King Zax. Brian Tishy will pop up on a bunch of them. The Dead Daisies could be one of these.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you ever hear The Long Shot?
no,
It's a side project of Billy Joe from the Green Day. It's pretty cool.
I like
They
him.
just did one record in like, I don't know, 2018 maybe, something like that. But
I really
the
like Billy Joe Armstrong.
they do, in my opinion, they do a kick-ass cover of Goodbye to Romance.
The Ozzy tune?
Yeah, on the long. I think it's the last track on the Long Shot record.
I better write that down because Billy Joe Armstrong sings it.
Yes.
Oh, that'll be rad. I'm in. And
Let
Quinn, my
me.
son, loves both of those. He loves Green Day. He's grown up on Ozzy, and Goodbye to Romance is one of his favorite songs.
The
Okay.
record is called Love is for Losers. And
Okay.
it is. I just looked it up. It's the last track, Goodbye to Romance.
And they're called what again?
The Long Shot.
All right, I'm in. As soon as I hang up from you, that's what I'm doing.
It's cool.
Killer. Killer. Wow.
Yeah, man. The
Well, I
one-offs, and there was a cool, if you're into the Fratellis, John Fratelli does a side project. I cannot remember the female's name that he does this with, but it's called Codeine Velvet Club.
Oh, cool.
And
That's a
it's
great name.
just, I think they just have one record. He's also got a couple solo records, just as John Fratelli, but
Yeah, we all love the Fratelli stuff. You got any parting words for us?
strap them kids in, give them a little bit of vodka and a cherry Coke. We're going to Oklahoma for the family reunion for the first time in years. It's up at Uncle Slayton's because he's getting on in years.
Thanks, everybody. See you later.
See ya.